Hello. I'm starting to feel like maybe I should just make it a habit to not have my previous month's palette project report ready right at the beginning of the month because it's kind of becoming a thing now. But that's probably what happens when you're just flying by the seat of your pants in this content creation thing and not really planning things in a lot of detail. Like there's no such thing as like a filming schedule over here because I'm a teacher that has other things in her mind at the moment, but I still like to come over here and film and let you know how things went when I decide to set aside specific palettes on a specific pattern, which is what I do every month with my eyeshadows, not just my palettes, to make sure that I am rotating through my whole collection. If this is your first time here, my name is Jo, and I'm ridiculous and I like to play with makeup. Okay, we have fun over here and we don't take ourselves too seriously. So if you would like to join in the fun and you'd like to see how people make decisions about the makeup that they wear in their normal lives, you should keep watching. Let's talk about my December palette usage. So in my head and on my notes app on my phone where I'm keeping track of usage, I call the December project Sparkles and Crowns because a lot of what you see here are eyeshadow palettes and single shadows that include a lot of metallics, duochromes, multichromes, and very, very shiny shimmers. I mean, December is the holiday season and it's a bit tough when you are teaching and the kids' minds are on Christmas break and maybe your mind is on Christmas break a little bit earlier than it probably should. So I wanted to have shiny things on my eyelids all of the month of December. However, it also included a 2-week December break during which I really did not wear that much makeup. So I gave myself a lot to work with on purpose just because I wanted to give myself a lot of choices. So there's a fair bit here that didn't get used, and that's what we're going to start with. Let's go. Let's start with the incredible Glimmering Creatures Volume 1 bundle by Glaminatrix. I used most of these, to be fair. I use the shade Bear, Lion, and Kitten. So I used half. I used all of those shades once. So I used this one, and this one that is the more coppery shade that looks kind of dark right now because my lighting is not helping me. So I used these three. I did not use these three. Like I swatched them, but I didn't use them for looks. No reason at all, just not the shades that were appealing to me at the moment. So out of a bundle of 6 single shadows, these 3 got used and these 3 did not. Let's talk about these e.l.f. Duochrome liquid eyeshadows. I used 2 of the 3 shades. From left to right, we have Venus Envy, Cyber Pink, and Mermazing. I used Venus Pink and Venus Envy, and Cyber Pink. I did not use Mermazing. I used Cyberpunk once and I used Venus Envy once. No reason for not using Mermazing. I just didn't quite feel like those shadows. I just wanted delicate pinks on the days that I used those too. I'll show you the palette that I used to create a base for them. I didn't wear them directly on the eyes. I will say this, I've had these for a little over a year and I'm starting to feel that either I'm using them up or they're drying down. We'll see exactly what's going on. But I used 2 of the 3 and I used them once. Let's continue with the very sparkly shadows. This is Fairy Lights by Glaminatrix. This is a limited edition bundle that they released a couple holidays ago. I only used 1 shade out of this, and if I remember correctly, it was the shade Presence. It was the shade Presence, which is kind of like a taupey shade. Very sparkly. It reminds me, tonality wise, it does remind me a little bit of Space Cowboy from Urban Decay, but this one's a little bit cooler toned. It seems like I'm starting to notice a pattern of like I wasn't going for a lot of like super accentuated colors seemingly, but I did use these shadows. This is, of course, a companion palette. This is pretty much a palette of single shadows. It's a palette of metallics. You're not going to use it all the time. That's okay. The quality of Glaminatrix metallics, I will not shut up about it because it's amazing. So I'm very happy to have this, and I'm really happy to have it as an option for when I want a Kapow metallic because these always deliver, but I only used it once. I think that part of that is because, you know, I didn't have occasion for incredibly sparkly looks too much, and I used 3 other Glaminatrix shadows when I needed them. 4 out of the 12, I used 4 a quarter of my Glaminatrix shadows. So, I mean, that's not too bad, right? Let's keep going with my Ritual de Fille singles. We have Serpent de Mer, we have Flora, Mineralia, Love Spell, and Cultist. Let's remove Cultist and Love Spell because they did not get used in December. These three did get used. I used Flora once. I used Serpent de Mer once. And I used Mineralia twice. I had also chosen a couple of Sydney Grace singles, including some of these multi-chromes over here, along with this gold from Lethal Cosmetics. That gold did not get any use, and I'm starting to wonder if I should keep it all together. The Sydney Grace singles that I did use included Green Mist, which is, no, this is Green Mist. My apologies. Green Mist, Golden Rose, Cadet, which I believe is this one, and Blushed. Let's check. I'm making up names. I totally am. Golden Rose. Okay. So this one's Golden Rose and this is Blushed. This is Cadet and this is Green Mist. These were the 4 singles that I used. Sorry, this is Green Mist. Do I even know my shadows? Green Mist, Cadet, Golden Rose, Blushed. Those were the 4 singles that I used from the Sydney Grace bundle, and then that single from Lethal did not get any use. All right, I think that with the remaining palettes, we can go maybe a little faster. Let's go with the Cleona Dragon Fruit palette. It's a collaboration between Cleona and Emily Violet Marie. I used it twice. If I'm not telling you the shades that I'm using is because I didn't write down the names, but you can see all the looks from December on my Instagram, same handle as here, Joe Sparkly. I try to publish my looks almost every day with swatches. So if you want to check those out, go over there. I do remember using Effervescent as a shadow topper. If I remember correctly, I used it with Refresh. And then I did another look with other shades. I believe it was Dragontini, the other one that I used. No, it wasn't. It was Exotic. But if I'm lying, go on Instagram and check because I don't remember. Alter Ego Goddess palette. This is the color story for the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I used it twice. Love this color story. It's fantastic. Pat McGrath Bronze Borealis Quad. Very, very, very functional. Used it twice. Pat McGrath Iconic Illumination. All baked special shades. Well, not special shades, but baked shades. One of the most versatile quads that I own, period. I love to use it. In December, I used it only once. My most used Pat McGrath quad in December was this one. It was Ritualistic Rose, and I used it 3 times. Pat McGrath Celestial Odyssey, holiday release from 2021. I used it 3 times, and I primarily stuck to the pinks in this area. I believe I used this pink as well, but I used it 3 times in December. Noma Tokyo Harajuku. I was pleasantly surprised with the looks that I came out from this one because you look at it and it doesn't really look like a winter-friendly palette, but I used the black, that charcoal gray and this gray, and I also used that pink. I used this peachy shade as well and that pink, and I got really, really nice cool tone looks out of this. I used it twice. Danessa Meyer's Groundwork Defining Neutrals, which I put in here so that I could have a base for other things that may be a little bit more loose, like I explained with the e.l.f. Liquid Shadows. I used this 5 times because it's a base palette. It makes sense that I used it a bunch. Because, I mean, again, I've said this before, this is a workhorse palette. If you have it, you're gonna use it a whole bunch because it's just very, very practical. And then last but not least, we have my Kaleidos Futurism palette in Astro Pink. I used this palette once, but I used every single shade. You can go find that look on Instagram. I was very, very proud of myself for that. So, as you can see, I gave myself a lot of work in December. Was it the wisest idea to give myself so much to work with in December? Probably not, especially knowing that I was going to be on my couch for an extended period of time in the week leading to Christmas. But I'm still really happy with the number of times that I use all of the palettes and all the single shadows that I did use, because I spread myself thin on purpose, knowing that I wasn't gonna have as many opportunities as I would have in a normal month to get my makeup done, but I still used eyeshadows that I wanted to use. I still challenged myself in creating makeup looks, like using this entire 6-pan palette. 6? Yes. Okay, that's not something that I do very often. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm like a 2-3 eyeshadow person on my everyday. So like using 6 eyeshadows for a look for me is kind of huge. So overall, I'm still really, really, really pleased with my December eyeshadow usage. And I'm glad that even if I didn't use absolutely everything, the vast majority of items that I included in my December project did get some use. So now let's talk about my focus for January. This lacquer packaging needs no introduction in the online beauty space, does it? If you're watching me on YouTube, this lacquer packaging probably needs no introduction, and you might already know what January is going to be all about over here. I'm spending all of January with my Mothership palette, okay? It's gonna be a Mothership only January. I've already started and I am delighted with what's coming up. I own 6 Motherships because I'm insane, okay? And also very fortunate to be able to afford makeup. So I'm gonna spend all of January with my 6 Mothership palettes. Trying to get them all in frame here. Excuse the fingerprints, but that is the side effect of lacquer packaging. Can't really do much about that other than polish it every time and wait until the next time you put your fingerprints on it, because that's how it goes. But let me just show you the 6 Motherships that I own. Not in order. Here we have Mothership 6 Midnight Sun, what seems to be a color story that a lot of people were not sure that they're gonna love, and then they use it and they love it, which is exactly what happened to me. Here we have Mothership 5 Bronx Seduction, my very first Mothership palette, and if I remember correctly, the only one that I've paid full price for. Midnight Sun I actually bought because it was deeply discounted, not gonna lie, but I've been pleasantly surprised with how much I love the color story and how intuitive it is. Bronx Seduction is a lot of people's first Mothership palette for a reason, and it's one of her most popular ones for a reason as well, because it is a really everyday friendly. You can see some fun dips here and here. I've used this baby a whole bunch. It's a great palette. Then we have Mothership 1 Subliminal, a cool tone dream released in 2018 for all the little girlies that were saying that 2024 was the year of cool tones. Yo, Pat McGrath has been doing it for a really long time, okay? Not trying to diss the people that are doing cool tones in 2024. That's cool, but it's not anything like, it's not a groundbreaking revelation that cool tones exist, okay? Because look at this. I chose this palette this year for my, well, this past year for my New Year's Eve look. It's a cool tone dream. If you like cool tones, I would recommend checking this one out. And of course, we have these spectacular special shades. All the palettes that I'm showing you today have special shades. Then we have Mothership 10 Moonlit Seduction, a palette that was, I think, rather divisive when it came out. First of all, because the special shades are not baked anymore. They're a different formulation and they are made in a different way, but also because it's a pretty neutral palette, which people were not expecting from Pat McGrath. I had no intention to buy it, not gonna lie, until I started seeing the looks that Pat McGrath did for the Taylor Swift Bejeweled video. I'm not even a Taylor Swift fan, but the looks that she did with this palette on Miss Taylor were amazing. So I was like, okay, maybe I should buy it. And honestly, this is one of my favorite Mothership palettes. It's beautiful. Then we have Mothership 3 Subversive. I feel like this is a palette that looks really grungy to a lot of people and really avant-garde to a lot of people, and people look at it and it's like, oh my god, it's so scary, those colors are so intense. And I thought that too, and then I started using it and I realized just how intuitive and easy to use it is. it's an incredibly pleasant surprise. The special shades are super cool and elevate, honestly, any look. This is one to have a lot of fun with. And last but not least, we have Mothership 9 Utopian Dream. I remember when this came out, people were so disappointed because it was pinks and not another shade that people were expecting, like another color family. I know that there are other pink palettes in the Pat McGrath family. For a long time, I thought that I didn't need or want the other ones, meaning Divine Rose 1 and Divine Rose 2. I'm not sure about that. I'll probably buy them in the future down the line or something, but I love Utopian Dream because these are my shades. These are my pinks, these are my mauves, and these special shades are incredible. This multi-chrome is out of this world. This is a great palette. I've had a lot of fun with this one. What's my goal with my motherships this month? Number one, use them because they are precious, valuable, enjoyable, luxurious formulas. They are really cool pieces of makeup that deserve to be used, and I love using them every single time. So usage to the best of my ability, absolutely. Simplified looks, meaning trying to show you and practice myself using 1-2 shadows with a mothership so that hopefully you guys can see different ways to utilize a mothership in more simple looks, in everyday looks, more work appropriate looks, that kind of thing. If you want to follow along with those, make sure that you're following me on Instagram at Joe Sparkly. And that's pretty much it. I just think that these are palettes that deserve to be used and showcased and loved and played with, because they are really fun. It's funny because I was watching Michelle Wong's declutters over Christmas, and she decluttered a whole bunch of her motherships, and I was like, what? I could never. Maybe I could, who knows? But I still think that these are really special makeup wise. Of course, I don't try as much makeup as a full-time content creator does, so maybe the luster hasn't like completely faded for me for that reason. So I decided to just give the motherships by themselves their moment in the sun and make them my focus for January. I also thought that, you know what? The last couple of years have been tough. Let's start the year with something really fun. And I mean, how much more fun can you have with makeup than using a Pat McGrath Mothership palette? Come on. I mean, there are other ways to have fun, but I love my motherships and I want to spend the whole month with them. So that's where we're going in January. Make sure to follow me on Instagram for all the fun. And at the end of January, we will talk about each of these 6 mothership palettes and how many times I used it during the month. I used them during the month. What is your focus in terms of makeup for the month of January? Do you have an eyeshadow product? Do you have a project pan? Do you have an everyday makeup basket? Tell me how the year in makeup is starting for you. I'm starting to notice a lot of interesting things that we'll be talking about as we go along in the channel. But of course, as usual, we're going to have fun with our makeup and we're going to enjoy what we have. Thank you so much for joining me in my adventures with makeup yet again. If you want to keep joining in the shenanigans, make sure to subscribe. I hope that you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.